please give an overview of the Luxembourg Fund Industry post-global financial crisis.
Well, 2008 has been a difficult year, not only in Luxembourg, but for the fund industry in general. We lost close to 25% of the fund's net assets. Fortunately enough, that was largely due to the negative impact of the markets and only to a minority to redemptions. But then 2009 and 2010 have shown that the fund industry in Europe has been extremely resilient, and that fresh money was subscribed to in the funds, and that in Luxembourg and in a number of other countries we're back to pre-crisis figures, and that is reassuring. Now, what is the conclusion of that? One is that fundamentally the investor has not lost confidence in the fund product. Well, on the contrary, otherwise we would not have seen all this new fresh money coming into the funds. But at the same time, we fundamentally believe that the crisis has shown that we need to be much closer to the investor, that we must listen to the investor, that we must be closer to identifying the new needs and expectations. And the new needs and expectations are for greater transparency, for greater simplicity to some extent, for better understanding the intrinsic features of a fund. And at ALFI we've devoted quite a bit of effort in the last years to help becoming closer to the investor and better understanding how the fund industry needs to adapt to serve that purpose.
What is the rationale for setting up the Hong Kong office at this time?
Distribution in Asia has become more and more important. We found out that the UCITS brand, which was initially widely known in the European Union, has become a global brand. It has become recognized globally, and that is to say in Asia, in Latin America and in the Middle East, for example. And so, realizing that net sales in Asia have become so significant in the past, we thought at ALFI that by opening up a rep office in Asia, we would find a good way to become closer to the investor community and to all the other stakeholders based in that area. And that is why we decided to do that as a first step. It is a big step for ALFI. It's the first foreign office we set up, and the role of the person we send to Hong Kong is mainly an ambassadorial role. The objective is that that person which is familiar with the local languages and cultures, who is a Hong Kong citizen, by the way, she will be able to speak to the sister associations in Asia, to the regulators, to the asset managers established in Asia, to prospective investors and clients, and make sure that we better understand what the expectations on the Asian side are with respect to that UCITS brand. And the entire exercise is to help promoting the UCITS brand in Asia, because we think that with this high level of recognition, the potential for distribution of the UCITS funds in Asia is quite high.
What is the impact of UCITS 3 on Asian investors and fund managers?
Well, as I mentioned, the UCITS funds have become widely known in Asia and have become extremely popular. So the objective is to make everything that these funds become even more popular in those areas, and that the selling potential for those funds in Asia is going to increase in the future. Now, that is largely done by the distributors and asset managers who have their operations in that area, but ALFI can support it by being present, by participating in the discussions with the regulators and making sure that all the possible queries and questions are properly dealt with. On the other hand, there is another potential that Asian-based promoters can set up UCITS funds themselves in Europe and then sell them either back into Asia or to any other places in the world where they believe they have distribution capabilities.
What do you think are the challenges for the asset management industry going forward?
Well, the financial crisis has shown a number of lessons which need to be learned. And lesson number one is probably that the asset management industry needs to more carefully listen to the investor. The investor has been disappointed by returns, has been disappointed by lack of understanding of certain products. Before the crisis, demand was unlimited and supply was oriented essentially towards sophistication. Now, in the wake of the financial crisis, it's the other way around. Demand is not unlimited anymore, and investors want to understand what they buy and why they buy it and what are the intrinsic features of a product. So the asset management industry has to react and make it so that products become more transparent, more easily understandable, and adapt to the needs of the investors, which probably would like to forego a bit of a higher return for something which is a more assured return, in particular in the long run. Long-term savings is going to be one of the main areas where the asset management industry has to focus upon to convince the investor that saving today for the long term is very important, and that the products obviously need to be adapted to accommodate those objectives.